the New York Knicks suck and got beat by almost 40 by the Cavaliers the other day. But not all hope is lost. And I feel like this team, if they do the next few things I'm about to suggest, could potentially make the finals. This is the thing, man. I know a bunch of Knicks fans. And Knicks fans, they're annoying. They're some of the most annoying fans ever. But it's a certain point where I start feeling bad for them. I mean, New York is like the mecca of everything basketball. I mean, you know the legends with Rutgers Park and all the other stuff that goes on there, and all the legends that have either are from New York or played in New York. And for them to just have such a crap franchise that hasn't won in such a long time, it sucks. And I feel like New York is deserving of at least a chance. And finally, now that they actually have an opportunity, they have a roster full of dudes that are straight up assassins, dudes that could straight up actually make a run to the finals. Now everything else around that great roster is breaking down around them. They have the talent. It's just, in my opinion, the number one thing wrong with them is the coaching. Tom Thibodeau, the man is coaching like he's in 2012 again, like he's 2011, like he's coaching Derrick Rose with Joakim Noah and Carlos Boozer and stuff like that, and Taj Gibson. Like, that dude needs a newsflash. Like, I feel like he doesn't know he's in 2025. And if you look at the stats, if you look at the numbers, that dude is playing with an old school mentality. He has the Knicks playing like with the old school mentality. First, let's get the number one stat out the way, the number one thing everybody's been talking about. The Knicks have the worst 3-point defense in the entire league. Dude, if I'm a coach in the NBA, I am prioritizing 3-point defense in general. What the hell are you doing letting teams like the Celtics, who are equipped with just snipers, everybody on that team got a registered sniper on them, and you letting them fire off shots left and right? No wonder every time you play one of the top teams, you get cooked by 30, by 40, by 20, whatever it is, and you don't even come close. This is gonna lead to y'all getting embarrassed in the playoffs if you don't stop this. Why isn't Tom Thibodeau? Look, it's either one or two things. Either the scheme is bad, or when y'all practice it, there's no extra emphasis on improving that defense. And here's the thing, it's not just defense. On offense, they are 27th in 3-pointers attempted. So this dude has them not taking threes and not defending threes. What are you doing? The fact that the Knicks have won as many games as they won this year has been just purely off talent. I think Tom Thibodeau is honestly wasting the talent on his team currently. And the funny thing is, their 3-point percentage is 5th in the NBA, which means they're not a bad 3-point shooting team. Maybe if I saw that they were one of the worst 3-point shooting percentage teams, I'd be like, okay, maybe it's not their strong suit, so he just doesn't want them taking threes because it's not their strong suit. But they've shown right here, right there in these stats, they are a good 3-point shooting team. So why don't you lean into that more? Also, we gotta talk about the bench minutes too. This man does not play his bench players at all. He overplays his starters, and that's sort of been the narrative around him. A lot of people to this day are saying, yo, if it wasn't for Tom Thibodeau, Derrick Rose would not have torn his ACL. A lot of people make an argument that, hey, Bulls were up 12 points, there was a minute 22 left in the game, Derrick Rose could have already kind of been out of the game. But Tom Thibodeau, who has a reputation of overplaying his starters, and then whenever they make it to the playoffs, oh, his 2-3 best players are injured or dealing with some sort of injuries. It happened last year with Jalen Brunson. It's gonna happen this year. They have already suffered a ton of injuries, and guess what? With all those injuries, your team can't get cohesion. That team with Mikal Bridges, with Jalen Brunson, that whole lineup has not gotten enough cohesion, and that's gonna affect you. To beat the Celtics, to beat the Cavaliers, you need to have cohesion. I've said that word like 3 times in a row now, but it is important if you're gonna beat a team like that. I'm gonna keep it a buck. They got more talent than you. Even though I don't think it's by much, they got more talent than you. So the only way you gonna beat these dudes is not by out-talenting them, is by chemistry. And the way you build chemistry is over time playing together, and you can't build chemistry over time if dudes are getting injured left and right. So at the end of the day, you got to let the bench play more so these starters could rest and not get injured as much. If you look at bench minutes, the New York Knicks are 30th. They're last place in the NBA with 686 minutes. The team that's second to last place is almost 100 minutes above the Knicks. That means they're last place by far. And a lot of people say, oh, that stuff about Tom Thibodeau not playing his starters, that's just people are making that up, but people are over exaggerating. No, it's not. The stats right here show it. This dude is overplaying currently his starters by a lot, and they are suffering because of it. And the funny thing is, the bench unit is not bad. In fact, the New York Knicks bench currently, in terms of defensive rating, have the best defensive rating amongst all benches in the entire NBA. Now, you could make an argument, hey, it's not that big of a sample size because the bench barely plays, but when they do, they have the best defensive rating amongst every other team's bench. And this team is struggling currently defensively. Their overall defensive rating is 20th. Again, not good. So it's like, y'all are struggling from defense. Maybe that actually would help you guys on a game per game basis have better defense on the court and potentially defend the 3-point a lot better. I mean, honestly, I felt like the 3-point defense issue might get fixed itself if you just play the bench more, for God's sakes. The bench is shown up that they are actually good at what they do, but they're not getting that much playtime. Why? Because Tom Thibodeau has a philosophy that's flawed. Heavily flawed. And at the end of the day, I really feel like the Knicks are gonna go in, probably win the first round, probably get beat in the second round like they always do. And that's the thing, they always end up getting beat in the second round. And there has to be a time where the Knicks look at what they've done, they look at their roster and say, what is the problem? I don't think it's a GM, even though a lot of people are giving the Knicks hate or the GM hate for the Mikal Bridges trade, especially after the Luka trade. It's like, wait, they didn't give up a first for Luka, but the Knicks gave up 5 firsts for Mikal Bridges. That was at a time where the Timberwolves gave up like 4 first rounders for Rudy. And the way I see it, it's like, imagine you're trying to make a cake. Imagine you finish making the cake. It's the most beautiful looking cake ever. And you're trying to buy a cherry for the cake. That's it. That's the finishing touch. After that, the cake is perfect. It is done. But the cherry person selling you the cherry says, hey, I know you really need this cherry, so I'm gonna sell you that cherry for $20, right? Now, are you gonna be overpaying for the cherry? Yes, but if it's to finish the cake, it's gonna be worth it, right? So then you buy the cherry, you overspent so much money on the cherry, but it was worth it at the end because you were able to complete the cake. And that's why I feel like Mikal Bridges was to that team. He was a cherry to their cake. It was a finishing touch to build a team that can effectively compete with the top teams in the East and probably make a final. I feel like this team is one good coach away from potentially being finals bound, but I don't think Thibs is the dude. Can he make these changes? Possibly, but the dude has had these shortcomings for years now, right? So it's like, what's gonna happen now to make him change the way he thinks? I don't think he's gonna change anything. If he does, great. If he doesn't, I feel like New York needs to look at their coach and say, hey, is he gonna win us the finals? The answer is most likely not. So they need to make a change. Now in the comments, I would love to hear what you guys think that change is. What coach do you think they can bring in and effectively help the Knicks sort of surpass that second round speed bump they always hit at the end of every year? What coach can help them get to the finals and win? I think bringing in a new coach, stop it with these old vet coaches that you're trying to just keep the team afloat. You need to try some dudes out of college, in my opinion. You need to try dudes that are experimental, that are trying new things. I mean, the Lakers went the experimental route and grabbed JJ Redick, who has a lot of bright ideas, and things are working out. I mean, the dude came up with a blueprint to effectively stop Jokic, at least for one game. But hey, it's a pretty good blueprint teams can use to potentially slow down Jokic, right? Can the Nuggets develop a system around that? Possibly, but that's a different video for a different day. But essentially, Knicks need somebody new. They need some fresh blood. That team is young. That team is fresh. They need a coach that's going to try things, that's going to be experimental. You need that. If you want a chance to beat the Celtics, which I don't think they have the greatest coach in the world, you want to beat the Cavaliers, which I don't think they have the greatest coach in the world. Those two teams have more talent than you, but if you can outcoach them with that current talent, I mean, for example, you put Eric Spoelstra on the Knicks, oh, they're making the finals. I'll put all my money on it, they make the finals. But obviously, Eric Spoelstra's not available. But if you get a good coach, I feel like y'all would be finals bound. So, Knicks fans or NBA fans in general, let me know who y'all want as your coach if Thibs gets fired at the end of the year. Who do y'all want? Who do y'all think can take y'all to the promised land? Let me know below. If you like this video, leave a like and subscribe. See y'all later. Peace.